For what I get, these are students that are outside of the Shah's residence. Now, they are suspecting that he's already been killed in their initial attack, but nobody's confirmed it. But they're outside celebrating, and I think that's kind of risky because over the last 30 days, 60 days, they've been killing Iranians left and right, bro. They brought in, I read one report, they actually brought in trained militias from other countries in order to bring down, qualm their, or lower or suppress their protesting. Tell me if the word I use this right. Leave a comment. Wow, so they're out there screaming, "Love America." Thank you, love America. Crazy.
Oh my God, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God.
Wow.
Okay.
Wow. So this is the U.S. Naval 5th Fleet Services Center. This is an American base they hit. This is American base. Dude, this is... Wow. Wow. 5th Fleet. That's the 5th Fleet. You know the craziest part is, I think Americans take our freedom for just granted. I think the same freedom that we take, I keep saying, is the same thing they're using to hold us as slave, like trying to enslave us, break us down through our own freedom. This is crazy.
साइड पे हो जाओ, साइड पे भागो।
Oh snap! Wow! I literally, you saw that missile, you saw that drop. Did you see that?
Oh my God!
Did you see?
जाओ साइड पे भागो।
Look at the missile actually drop from the sky. Boom, it's coming down. They running, they see it. Wow. This is a little, to me, this is a little confusing.
Oh my God.
Because you see people in the street dancing and happy, then you see other ones running for freaking bombs dropping.
Guys, look at other, look at other, look at other, look at other. Anything here?
Wow.
Oh my God. बिल्कुल मेरे रूम के सामने।
Wow.
या अल्लाह खैर।
Wow. Let's go. Let's cover what they say.
Explosions rocked multiple cities across Iran, including its capital, Tehran. Videos from Tehran show smoke. You see it here billowing over the city. And now we're getting reports of explosions in Gulf Arab countries hosting U.S. military bases. Live look now at Abu Dhabi, where explosions were reported, in addition to Bahrain and Qatar.
Wow, so they're launching missiles as far as Abu Dhabi, Qatar. Wow. So Iran's shooting missiles. The U.S. is deflecting missiles. Israel's getting hit. Israel's planning an assault. I don't care what nobody says about this. This is no way that this is going to happen in a couple of days. It's no way. Iran has been entrenched there for years. I mean, imagine, you can't even take out roaches in a house in one night. Like, you got to spray it, bomb it. And in many cases, if it's a heavy influence, you got to bomb that shit multiple times. Oh, no. That's how I know this is not going to be quick. This isn't going to be quick. And I knew it. It's not going to be quick. When 9/11 hit, I was on base and I walked into the cafeteria, and I looked at the screen and I saw like the buildings on fire, and I thought it was a video game. And I said, "Turn off! Why are we watching playing video games?" And I'm a sergeant at that time. It's like, Sergeant Duncan, no, this is real. And you know the first thing my NCOIC told me? He said, "This is not going to be quick." He said, "This is going to be months, if not years." I don't see how we can do this that fast. So nobody's been able to actually say if the Shah has been killed or anything. Nobody can say that if the supreme leader has been killed through that initial bombing, unless they're keeping it under wraps.
A video now of an explosion in Bahrain. Officials say a missile hit the service center of the U.S. Navy's Fifth Fleet in the country. These strikes happen barely a day after the latest round of indirect nuclear talks between Iran and the U.S. And sources tell CNN the U.S. military is planning for these attacks to last for days. Israel said the same, and both
I would say for weeks, if not months. Tell me if you think I'm wrong. Tell me if you think I'm wrong.
Donald Trump and Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu are now calling for regime change.
To the great, proud people of Iran, I say tonight that the hour of your freedom is at hand. Stay sheltered. Don't leave your home.
Your hour's at hand.
It's very dangerous outside. Bombs will be dropping everywhere. When we are finished, take over your government. It will be yours to take. This will be probably your only chance for generations.
Yeah, Iran media reported just hours ago that Iran already launched dozens of ballistic missiles at Israel. And Qatari officials say that Qatar already intercepted 2 Iranian missiles, indicating Iran is carrying out that plan to retaliate. And our team is up and covering this breaking story from around the world. We'll get to Zach Cohen and Elena Treen in just a moment.
So check this out. If they have a nuclear warhead and they haven't told anyone about it, there is an extreme situation where they would like that shit. Because they would rather take the U.S. and they would rather destroy themselves than yield to the U.S. These are how radical these people are, bro. These are how radical they are, even though they live in denial of not having weapons of mass destruction. I mean, we've been doing this already. This, to me, is like a flashback of Bush. We're back to this weapons of mass destruction conversation. We're back to taking over the Middle East. We're back to all these different, this other BS that we got out of. And I keep saying, if I had to vote for Trump again against Harris, I would still do the same thing. Do I agree with this? I can understand the need for this, but coming out of prior service, I don't necessarily agree with it, but then I understand why it's necessary. You got to see. Iran has been a pain in the ass for Israel and everyone around here. Half of the issues that we face with some of these radical people that come to our country that have already come through the border, it's because of Iran. The pushback that they were getting, Israel's gotten in the Gaza Strip, not being able to take Pakistan, is because of Palestine, because of Iran. Iran has their back, bro. Iran has their back. And as long as Iran has their back, you can't do too much in that region. So I don't think this is going to be an easy piece. And what is it for? Yes, it is for oil. When some of y'all out there, you're probably saying, man, they just want the oil. Yes, they do want the oil. I believe they want the same control of oil just like they got with Venezuela. Am I against that? Honestly, no. Because I see it from a larger scale. Even though it's uncomfortable as an American for me to say, okay, that's good. We're getting into another war. Or we got the backing of our allies. We're going to crush them, all this different stuff. If you compare us to what China has, compare the U.S. to China right now, China has access to so much more oil reserve. They can fuel their army past our armies, even though we have a stronger military. They have more allies in other regions. Mexico, cartel in Mexico, Venezuela, Colombia, Maybe we're crazy. Maybe we're sitting back and taking this for granted. And the first thing I'm going to hear is probably some of the left people. Y'all going to be upset. Y'all, no, this is crazy. We can't do that. We always invading people's places. Bro, I think this is probably one of the last issues that are going to come up before China starts to invade Taiwan. China will invade Taiwan. They've already got their eyes on Taiwan. When do I think it's going to happen? This is my prediction. I think it's going to happen towards the end of Trump's presidency. I think it's going to be closer to that end where China is going to say, we're in a position, we don't have to deal with Trump, let's go get it. Now, Patrick Bet-David, PBD podcast, shout out to it, man, great podcast. The reason I threw him up here is because he's lived in Iran, and I like hearing people who have actually lived in Iran prior to this regime to get a good concept of what this country is actually like. Is it worth us going into it and doing this? I personally believe it is, but you look at it at a larger scale. We don't have a lot of allies. We've got allies in the Middle East. That's true. But those same allies that we have, this is a threat against them too. If you're talking about being able to control the Middle East and bring some level of stability, Iran does have to go. People don't like it. Y'all don't want to talk about it. Y'all want to act like, okay, there's America doing America stuff no more. Call me whatever you want to call me. I just think our country needs to dominate in all these fucking places. Because if you don't get that, if you don't get in a position of strength in the Middle East, if you don't get in a position of strength in South America, the threat that is China, which is definitely coming, without a shadow of a doubt, it's coming. Whether you're talking about an EMP blast over the top of the country, whatever it is, whatever you call it, whatever you want to call it. If you don't get yourself in that position, when that does occur, and then they say, "Hey, we got Taiwan, we got the chips that we need. We're coming for you now." You gonna have people in the streets in America like, "Oh God, we should have did something about this earlier." We can do it without infringing on them.
Sir, Daily Mail said Israeli media says growing indications that Iran's Supreme Leader Ali Khamenei was killed in U.S. and Israeli airstrikes.
Yeah, so this report just came in. Again, this is allegedly. Wow. We'll go through a bunch of different people that we're talking.
That would actually give them cause to celebrate in the streets, right? Israeli media say growing indication that Iran's Supreme Leader Ali Khamenei was killed in the U.S. and Israel strikes. I'm like, okay.
I get it. But Rob, I think it's a good idea. Just start off with casualties. This is not going to be ours. Vinny was saying it earlier a minute ago when we were talking. But he specifically said there could be casualties. And this is war. So it's not like it's not a war of what we're talking about. It's not what happened that was immediate going in Venezuela and leaving. I remember when he and I were speaking, he said to me, he says, every different mission, we have to stay fluid because things could change. But let me kind of go through some of the updates that's been given this morning. You know, normally when something like this happened, you would think they would attack in the middle of the night, say 1 o'clock in the morning, 3 o'clock in the morning. This was a good point that Tom was making this morning, but the attack was around 8:15 their time, which means you wake up, you're having breakfast, boom, there's an attack. So it's not like it's a regular time. And for me, I lived in Iran, in the capital, when the war happened with Saddam, with Iraq, and I remember a lot of these stories, and it's tragic, but let me give you some of these updates. So that's one. They hit 3 Iran nuclear sites. They hit Fordo, they hit Esfahan, and they had Natanz. Reuters reports 6 bunker buster bombs on Fordo, 30 Tomahawk missiles at other sites described by Trump. According to Reuters, obviously the B-2 bombers were used, and they were involved. Tehran's strikes reported around University Street and Jamhuri areas as well. Multiple provinces, including Esfahan, Ilam, and Qom were hit.
Wow.
Confirmed hits in other countries from Iran. So Iran attacks out. Israel's been hit. There's been many clips of Israel being hit. Bahrain was hit. And I think a U.S. military base was hit. Qatar, UAE, one dead in UAE. Jordan was hit. Saudi Arabia. And they were also firing at U.S. bases in Saudi. And then AP reported that Iran's first launched the drones towards Israel, then struck U.S. installations in Bahrain, Kuwait, Qatar, and other locations. Wow. Bahrain has confirmed they struck on U.S.'s 5th Fleet Service Center. Rob, if you have that clip of hitting the Fifth Fleet, you actually see the clip. There's a couple guys that are driving by the Fifth Fleet.
I think we've already seen that Fifth Fleet hit. That was crazy. Okay, shoot, let's look at it from another angle.
This is it. Is this the one? I think this is the one.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, this is one of the clips that got hit right there. So I mean, this is tragic, but it's a full-on war, and a lot of countries are now involved. But I'll continue. Iran state media reported that at least on one instance, again, remember, this is Iran saying this, 40 killed, 45 wounded in a strike on a girls' school in Mina.
And they're always going to lead with the casualties of civilians that were hit because they use civilians as their shield. Just no different. They use civilians as their shield. So they're always going to lead with that. We got to keep that in mind.
Person killed in Abu Dhabi. Russia called the strike an unprovoked. So remember, Russia's defending their side. France, UK, and Germany said they were not involved in the strike, but condemned Iran's retaliatory attacks, and they urged them to come to the table to negotiate. And in areas that have been targeted, according to the chief national security correspondent at Fox News, Jennifer Griffin, Iranian parliament, National Supreme Council, Ministry of Intelligence, Iranian's Atomic Energy Agency, cyber attacks have taken place on news agencies. The internet is out in Iran.
So they're not just doing a physical war attack. They're doing a cyber war attack. The most dangerous portion of this, I'm going to tell you, and this, even though I say it could take weeks, I think months to actually get that, to bring it down, if the leader has it, not if the supreme leader hasn't been killed already. If he's been killed, then of course, days before they take the country. You got to realize, what did they do in Venezuela? I saw so many reports coming from Venezuela on how the troops, they were so surprised in the technology that the U.S. used, which crippled their systems, and in some cases made people, soldiers, people that were there, pass out. Completely pass out. That means they were stepping over bodies and stepping over people that were unconscious and couldn't render any type of fight or resistance against them. That level of technology hasn't even been spoken about yet. But I've been able to see different videos translated that the actual soldiers that were there for Venezuela were overtaken with the sheer force of the special ops that landed there. So you got to ask yourself the question, yeah, if the supreme leader is down, this could take days, possibly weeks at most, may not go into months if he's down. But if he is down, if he's not down, I think it's definitely going to take months to do it. Because, and this is, and I got to realize, this is not Russia taking Ukraine. This is not Russia taking Ukraine at all.
Tough for civilians to be able to communicate and see what's going on around the world, as well as, you know, what updates are taking place. They don't know what the news is saying about them. Defense minister targeted allegedly, head of the judiciary targeted allegedly, and that's very important because that was the one that was, you know, putting a lot of many death sentences on protesters. So he's a very, very vicious guy. He's like an Alexandre de Moraes.
So if you don't know, over the last couple of weeks, 2 months, you got somewhere between 40, I think the total went up to 60,000 people unaccounted for, killed in protests in Iran. These are Iranian citizens.
Except wars of Brazil in Iran. And then they've obviously, you know, targeting Ali Khamenei. Of course, we'll be looking at things as we're going through this. But let me give you an idea from me. I'm getting messaged by a lot of people. Hey, media, hey, can you come on? Can we come? Also, a lot of different friends, family from around the world that are messaging. What do you think? How do you feel? What are your thoughts? This is what I can tell you. The video that resonates with me the most was seeing videos of Iranians dancing in Iran. And I don't know if you've seen this, so think about it. Everybody that says anything, it's opinions. But people that are in there in Iran, it's a different story. They hate this regime.
It's a different
80+% of Iranians hate this regime. They want it to be gone. They want to be free. They want to enjoy themselves just like you that's watching this. Think about the basic freedoms you have right now that's watching this show. You have an opinion. You want to say certain things. You want to be free. You want to go out, you want to enjoy yourself. You don't have those luxuries in Iran. Watch this clip of people in Iran celebrating, dancing. And by the way, these videos are coming from all over the place in Iran. Go ahead, Rob.
Yeah. I think we saw this one. That's
They're dancing, they're celebrating. You can pause it right there, Rob. That's a form of art. They want to be free. They want to be free. What is wild about this whole thing is, Rob, I sent you a picture from 70s of Iranian women supporting Khamenei coming in. And this picture, Rob, I think you have it. You have it somewhere. You'll find it right there to the left. If you go right there to the left, that one right there. When you see these pictures, I understand these pictures, and I'll tell you why I understand these pictures. This is leftist Iranian women celebrating Khomeini's arrival in 1979 and how he was supposed to be a peaceful Gandhi, modern day. Everything was going to be great. And then he later killed 30,000 leftists. He executed them. By the way, I say this, and the reason why this is very close to me is because my mother was one of them that was outside protesting. My mom and my dad were married. My dad was against Khomeini coming back. My mother was supportive because there was a party in Iran called the Today Party. And they said, no, these rich people, all this oil, look what they're doing with all this oil money. And so what if Iranians have more freedom? But look what they're doing. Khomeini's going to come back, and he said to us, we're all going to get free phones. We're all going to get free food. We're all going to get free rice. This is his message that he was given to them.
I think that says it all right there. We're getting that same message from Zoran Mandani. We're getting that message from the Democratic Party, from the left in America. We need free this. We need free that. New York is what it is right now because there's not enough free stuff. And I got a comment. Are you down for democratic socialism? No, I'm not. I'm never going to be down for democratic socialism, regardless of the promises that they make, because democratic socialism is just another example, another type of beast that showed up at the doorsteps in Iran and claimed that the people needed that. They were living free lives, growing and prospering. And somebody said, you've got a majority, you got a minority, you got people over here that are suffering. And you guys are wrong because you're making money and they're suffering. Capitalism isn't perfect, but one thing capitalism will do is develop character. It would develop your creativity. It would develop, it will give you aspirations. It'll make you aspire to something better. It'll make you grab hold of God and say, Lord, what do you have for my life? This is nothing more, and this is why I'm cool with this happening. Because I feel and I see this is what happens when you do put a type of socialist government in place. And again, I'm going to tell you, they're not socialist at all. They're probably the extreme, is extreme, is a dictatorship. We know that. But it was presented under the guise of socialism, spreading the wealth, people need to be taken care of. And then next thing you know, they replaced the leader, for they felt the grass was greener on the other side. 30,000 massacred, a regime that's been in place for the last 45 years. 45 years. I feel for it. Because when I see these pictures from Iran, I'm like, dude, that place looks beautiful. Dope. But not no more. Now, there's the other side of the argument that says Trump isn't really holding to his pledge. Trump pledged that America will be first and America would not go into any wars. America would settle. I think, and this is my opinion, yeah, Trump pledged that. The reaction is we're quick to give an argument about what a politician didn't do. We don't give them props for what they did do. And we don't even look at the situation and say it's fluid. We may come in 2 years and say, listen, we're not going to do any war. But then this idiot turns out there and he does something that compels the hand. Or do we now stick with that promise? Do we now turn around and say, oh, well, we promised you, so we won't do it. We'll let that threat just stay there because we made a promise to the people. I think you have to be fluid. I think you have to be able to pivot. I think it doesn't make you a bad person from changing your stance slightly in this. But I also believe when he's changed his stance, the amount of power to make sure that it's done and done really fast, you cannot say in any way, shape, or form that he's dragging his feet. You can't. Because, and I did this post yesterday, I hate lawyers running our country because they turn around and they do the most, what would you call it? They do the worst stuff. Somebody that's tactically advanced would come in and say, listen, we want to destabilize, cripple, take them out as fast as possible. How do we go about doing it? And then they get all the plans. The ones who want to actually debate with them and they're scared of what could possibly take place, how they could be perceived by their citizens and their people, will say, well, how can we hit them and make a point? And I believe up until now, we've just been hitting them and making a point. I'm curious to see if this is the brand new world that the Iranians have been looking for and Americans have been waiting for and could possibly help our economy. Who knows? We'll see. Hey guys, like, subscribe, follow for more content. It's Saturday and I'm about to get out of this. Please